Rightio, we're here with Matt Garrick, who we've learnt to know over the last few months on Big Brother Australia. We've got an insight into, I guess, who Matt is as a person to an extent, and we're really thrilled to have Matt on the show today. He's a big NBA fan, and we've got a lot to get through. But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. First and foremost, Matt, it's a pleasure to have you on. But I thought I might just start by asking probably the obvious question, and that's how was the Big Brother experience for you, and was it everything you expected and probably more?
Firstly, obviously, thanks for having me on, fellas. Pleasure to be here. But yeah, the Big Brother experience was one of the craziest things I've ever done. I wasn't really sure what to expect going in there. I didn't really have any expectations because, as everyone was told, the game had changed a lot. But I don't know if I was quite expecting how it did play out. It was just a phenomenal experience and something that I'm really glad that I took on.
Absolutely. So it went for about 39 odd days, and that's a long time to be in the one place, especially with the same people. How was the mental challenge? I feel like more than anything, just watching it on the TV, you could tell as the days went on, it became more mentally grueling. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, it definitely was. It was by far more challenging on the mental side of things than it was physically. Yeah, it was tough. The challenges were tough. They took sort of our food and a lot of sleep off us, which I guess are physical challenges, but that just played more into the emotional side of it. They were just, they kept dropping little things in and just trying to stir the pot. And yeah, by the end, whilst everyone they were all great people, by the end, like you say, you're stuck within these four walls, and it was just crazy. Like towards the last couple of weeks, it was just mentally and emotionally grueling because everything in there was sort of amplified. You'd look at someone the wrong way, and all of a sudden you've got a problem. Just crazy times by the end.
And I guess the Big Brother producers obviously put people with all different personality types from all walks of life, so you can sort of understand how this, how you get a bit more frustrated as the days go on and you sort of need your own time. But yeah, I can understand that. And we know that coming into the show, we saw a bit of a glimpse into who you were outside of Big Brother, a Sparky coming from Broken Hill.
God's country, mate.
And that's right. You got it in one.
We love it.
We had to get it in there. But so you've come in, and we've all got this impression that you're a really down to earth Aussie bloke, and there's a lot of appeal based off that.
I know that's why we wanted you on, hey, because we related to that kind of just Aussie bloke, hardworking, and like as we were getting in touch with you, you spoke how you were back at work this week and how long the hours were. What's that been like, and especially with how things have changed since the coronavirus has come about? Have you kind of fit pretty seamlessly?
In a sense, it's been actually pretty good to sort of get back into sort of real life and into a bit of routine, I guess. The last sort of couple of months, well, probably since February when I left to go and do Big Brother, it's just been pretty crazy. There was obviously went and filmed it and was in there for the 39 or 40 days or whatever it was, plus a couple of days of lockdown, and then came back and couldn't say where I'd been or what I'd been doing. So that was hard. And then the actual show itself started, and things obviously got a bit crazy after that. And then went back to Sydney a couple of weeks ago for the finale, and sort of all those emotions came back. But it's sort of really good to be back into work, and obviously very grateful that I still have work. I know the COVID-19's affected a lot of people, so very grateful to still have my job, and it hasn't really affected us too much in a sense. We've obviously got different rules and regs now as far as face masks and hand sanitizing and amount of people in a room and that. But as far as sort of day-to-day work, it's sort of pretty similar to what it was before coronavirus was a thing. So very grateful for that, as I said.
Well, did they, in the house, did they give you like much information on the whole developing situation? How it escalated so quickly?
They did. When I went in, I think there was 30-something cases was the last report I saw on the news. And then they gave us an update. We saw a sign rider, like an aeroplane, that wrote "Stop F1" in a sky. And we thought, I thought that maybe a driver had died or something. This was on, we worked out it was the Friday before the race was supposed to be on the Sunday. And we were like, oh, a driver's died in bloody practice or something.
Yeah.
Then the next day they came back and wrote "wash hands." And we were like, what are they talking about? And then they called us in and, they said it had gone to 100 cases in Australia. And then the next update was a couple of days later, it had gone to 300. And we're like, well, that's, gone pretty quick. And then, then one of the crew members was in touch with someone who tested positive. So they shut the game down for a couple of days and gave us another update. That was probably 3 days later. And all of a sudden it was at 1,300 cases. And then we get told that the AFL's cancelled, the NRL's cancelled, the Olympics are cancelled, the NBA's off. And it's like, what the hell is going on out there? So it was, without knowing the severity of it, it didn't seem real, if I'm honest. But then coming out, it obviously is very, very real.
Did you think they were pulling your leg? Or
the first couple, it was a bit like, oh, are they just stirring the pot here? But then when they shut it down and took the cameras away, it was like, no, they wouldn't do that if it wasn't serious. So that was when we knew it was all systems go out on the outside world.
I guess, was there any thought that they would kind of shut it down completely indefinitely? Like, as you said, it was a couple of days, but was it looking like it could potentially be a lot longer than that?
Well, they initially said that the person that was in contact with a positive person had obviously they went and got tested, but then the whole crew got tested, I believe. So they had to wait the 2 or 3 days or whatever it was to get all those results back. But they never said this to us, but I was of the opinion that if any one of those tests came back positive, they would have shut the whole thing down. But then we're all sort of spitballing in there and saying, oh, they might send us home for a month and bring us back. And I think there was 9 of us left at that stage. Yeah. And I was just, I said, if they shut it down, I'm done. And they're like, well, you got to come back. I said, no, so I've got a life to go and live. Like, I've got a family and a job. Like, I can't just have, 6 months off work. Like, I'm done. If this is done, I'm out. I'm sorry. But luckily it never got to that. So, which was obviously good. But yeah, there was definitely a feel that if it came back positive, we were pretty well stuffed, I think.
Yeah. So, you've gone in. What was your game plan coming into the actual game? We know you're like down to earth bloke. Was there any sort of plan from you to play a real backstabbing, manipulating game, or were you sort of sticking to your moral compass a bit and being like, okay, we're just gonna be who Matt Garrick is and hope that works?
Well, that was, I guess, the initial plan was just to sort of back my people skills and my personality in, which I think worked pretty well. I tend to make friends pretty well and gain trust pretty easily. But I was very aware going in there that, there could potentially come a situation where I may have to do something as a big brother contestant that I wouldn't do on the outside world. But I think my game plan, I said before going in, and it was said a few times in there, that I wanted to be the neck of the group and not the head, meaning that I wanted to have a say in all the decisions, but not sort of drive them. And I think for the most part that worked pretty well. And obviously I got pretty close. So the game plan worked to a certain extent.
Well, I know all of us, we were absolutely rooting for you and Dan. And we love a good bromance. So how did that relationship develop for you guys? Is it just, and I know seeing on you, for both of you, your social media, it's like it's still outside of the show. It's very real. And so how are you guys traveling? Still thick as thieves?
Yeah, no, Dan and I will be friends for a very, very, very long time. I think probably definitely lifelong friends. I'm mad on the AFL as well. So night one, I knew who Dan was when I went in there. I'd never met him before, but as soon as I saw him, I thought, well, it made me sort of relax a bit because I obviously didn't know what sort of people were going to be in there. And then seeing him, I was like, well, okay, I know I've at least got someone that I'm going to have something in common with. And then, it just grew and grew and grew. And, we sort of teamed up and had people coming at us from every which way. And
bloody oath you did.
It was sort of, by the end, we were sort of back to back with the jukes up and fighting off whatever was coming. But, Yeah, no, we're still very thick, and yeah, glad that he was in there because it made my experience so much better. And also, I don't think either of us would have got as far as we did without the other one. So yeah, very grateful that the big man was in there with me.
It's a big part of these shows, isn't it? Like any kind of reality show where you're interacting with other people, it's huge to have like at least one person you can 100% kind of be yourself with, trust in. And it's awesome that you guys, just the connection you guys had on TV, that made for really good viewing. And I know that was probably my favourite, apart from watching Ange do her thing and Kieran, seeing you and Dan do your thing was awesome stuff.
Nah, thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. But yeah, it was definitely a thing that made the game so much easier, having that one person that you could really fully trust. Like I knew that what was said between us wasn't going to go any further. And I probably had the same relationship, if I'm honest, with Casey and Xavier, but we sort of made a conscious decision when it was getting down to it that, you know, if we were still obviously a group of four, that people were sort of going to come for us. So that's why you sort of saw, it wasn't a fracture at all, but that was sort of us just sort of going, well, to get a bit less attention on us, Dan and I will sort of pretend we're going on our own ways. Case and Dave, go your own way. But yeah, to have that one person like Dan was crucial.
No, brilliant. Well, we've also seen you on Think Tank. It's stint there. We loved that, as well as Big Brother. You've tackled a bit of TV now. Is there anything else in the works for you, or anything else you'd like to tackle?
The full Monty?
Yeah, brilliant.
No, there's no initial plans at the minute. A few things in the pipeline, so sort of watch this space, I guess. But it's sort of it all started. I got a gig on the Chase Australia and did okay on that, and then that spawned into Think Tank. And I don't know. I have no idea if Think Tank played a role in me getting into Big Brother. I did the audition process the same as everyone else. But I've always loved Survivor, so yes. I don't know whether I've probably cooked my opportunity by going on Big Brother, but I don't know. It's not really something that I've ever, I guess, aspired to be is on the telly, but it's something that I do, I guess, enjoy, and it's really interesting. I find seeing the other side of what goes into shows like this. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, actually, I might pick your brain then, because I know one of my bucket list dreams is to be on Survivor as well. With the whole application process, did you, for Big Brother, did you have any little secret tips or hints that you think kind of got you over the line? Or it was just your natural personality that shone through?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to think it was my personality, but I think the biggest tip, and I've sounded like a bit of a crack record because everyone that's asked me and sort of reached out to me, I've said the same thing, but I think it's just so crucial to be yourself. You know, if you go into an audition or when you're doing your questionnaires or whatever and think, oh, what sort of person do I think they want to find? Then you've already shot yourself in the foot, because you got to remember, these casting people, these producers, they've seen tens of thousands of auditions. Like there was 50-something thousand for Big Brother. So I don't know how many there would have been over the years with Survivor and all this. So if you try and be something you're not, I think they'll just honestly just throw your application out. So just be yourself, be upbeat, be happy, and don't waffle on, I think, as well, because as far as videos and that go, they obviously have to sit down and watch thousands of them. Yeah. If you start, when I was 5, if you start your bloody life story, they're just going to turn it off and go to the next one. So have fun with it, be yourself, and just be short and sharp, I think.
Yeah. Well, Roy, you want to audition, don't you?
Well, I've thought about it, but it's one of those things. You got to work out what's going to happen with work and your outside life. But
you'd say go for it.
Just do it, mate. Just do it.
Do it. Yeah.
You won't look back.
No, you only live once, as they say.
That's right.
But we'll change channels slightly. We knew that Dan and yourself were a dangerous duo in the house, but it's not the duo that I want to speak of. And the duo that I want to speak of is KV and Kyrie. We know that you're a massive Brooklyn Nets fan. The future for the Brooklyn Nets, I think, from an overall NBA perspective, is going to be a bright future, particularly with those two at the helm. What are you realistically expecting from the Brooklyn Nets next year, I suppose, and then going forward?
I'm bloody nervous, if I'm honest. Hopefully it goes better than last time we did a blockbuster trade and got Garnett and Pierce and all that, because that wasn't.
The truth.
We're still paying for that, but I think it's a real credit. I just want to say, firstly, not that they're probably going to hear this, but it's a real credit to no offense, to the organisation, the way that they have rebuilt the squad with sort of next to nothing. We gave all our picks away, obviously, and that, and got us to a point where we've been able to attract KD and Kyrie, which I'm nervous, but I'm super excited. I think obviously they can both score just as well as anybody in the current comp, and probably KD especially. He's one of the best scorers of all time, probably top 3 or 4, really.
Yeah.
Just to be at that size and with the shot he's got is insane. But my big worry, I think, is I don't know if there's going to be enough ball to go around, because I really like what we've got with Dinwiddie and Levert.
Yeah.
But, you add Kyrie in and then KD, I don't know. But I think realistically in the East, it's obviously not super strong. It's probably better than it has been, but you'd have to think we're sort of in the best 2 or 3 teams. I think if they can work it out, you're going to get at least 25 every night from KD and Kyrie. So that should take us a fair way into the East, I would have thought.
Well, I guess on that note, I know for us, the Nets in the bubble down in Orlando at the minute have been a bit of a surprise pack at 5-3. Could have beaten the Blazers the other day. That was a mad game. Do you think they can take a game or 2 off the Raptors in their current form?
I think, the way we're playing, definitely. Anything's possible, but I think it's probably not really realistic to think we could knock them off. I mean, they're going to be around the mark again. I know Kawhi got a lot of the plaudits last year, which he should have, but if you take him out, like the bare bones of it is they've got an amazing squad, and Kyle Lowry's he's a baller. Like, he's been a gun for a long time. So
big, isn't he?
I'd like to. He's probably a bit underrated, really. Yeah, he's got a pretty good resume, but we could probably get a game or 2. But I don't think we can really knock him off. But if LeVert keeps going the way he's going, anything's possible.
He's a natural born scorer, LeVert, isn't he? He'd be one who you'd be happy with his development, particularly this year with Kyrie being out. He's sort of taken that next step, I suppose you could say, from an offensive side of things. Are you happy with how he's been progressing?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he was sort of trending that way anyway before his injury, and then it's awesome to see him come back and regain that form. And I guess in that sense, Kyrie and KD not being there has probably been the best thing for him. I just hope next year he doesn't suffer too much with them being back. I think, they'll probably look at using Dinwiddie and maybe him as well, but I hope that they sort of get that 6th man sort of role where, for the 4 or 5 minutes that they're on each quarter, they've got the reins, and sort of, KD and Kyrie can have a rest while they sort of carry it.
Like a Lou Williams.
What was that, sorry?
Like a Lou Williams just off the bench, just offensive.
Yeah. 100%. I hopefully that they can sort of play that role for us. But Levert's been unreal, and hopefully he keeps trending in the same direction, and hopefully people don't swoop in and take him from us.
That's the
you bloody hope not.
Have you enjoyed the whole bubble format at the minute? Like with the idea they had the playing game, the kind of 8 games to finish it. I know for us it's been pretty enthralling just to cover it, and especially in the West, that kind of playoff seeding race. Have you kind of enjoyed how the NBA tackled that whole situation?
Yeah, I did. I sort of was a bit skeptical of how it was going to go, and I mean, I don't really think the Pelicans probably ever should have been there. I think that was just to get Zion there, and probably same with the Wizards on the other side. But the NBA, it couldn't not have gone any better for them in the West, could it? Like the way that the Suns went in and were undefeated, the Blazers come back from nowhere. Memphis didn't really do too much wrong, and then the way that the play-in game went was just, if they could have written a script, I reckon this would have been it. So it's been. Yeah, it's sort of, I was a bit skeptical of how it was going to go, as I said, but it's got me in big time, and I'm so pumped to have it back on the telly, to be honest.
You mentioned how the Phoenix Suns had an unreal run, heading into the last bit of the season. What are your thoughts on them next year? I know us 3 blokes, we're pretty optimistic about what they can achieve going forward. You've got Devin Booker at the reins there. DeAndre Ayton looks like he, is progressing in the right direction. Do you reckon they're going to be, up there next year in the West?
I think they'll. I don't think they could probably take the West out just yet. But yeah, like you said, he's a stone cold killer, and then Ayton, he's going to just keep improving. You would have thought. I think if they can sort of attract one or two sort of vets that are still got some good basketball in them, and probably a bit more on the defensive side, they can definitely contend. Because Booker, like, he had two of probably the two best, perimeter defenders on him the other day, in George and Leonard, and just dropped the game winner straight over the top of both of them. So
Unreal.
if they can't stop him, good luck to everyone else.
Yeah.
Matt, we know you're a massive fan of LeBron. What do you make of his efforts in his, 17th season? Yeah.
Just insane. Like, he won the assist title. He probably, like, realistically, he probably could have won the assist title every year if he wanted to or needed to. But it's insane that he's been pass first a majority of his career, and he'll probably end up one or two in the all-time scoring list. And just the longevity, he's Iron Man. He had the little issue with his groin last year.
He ages like
he had the issue with his groin. Yeah. Oh, he's insane. Like, people are saying he's fallen off a bit of a cliff, but he's averaged 25, 8, and 10. Like,
where's the logic?
It's every single player in the comp would kill to average that in year 3, let alone year 17. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And if he, I hope, they've got their work cut out, but I hope they can pull it off this year, just so he can sort of say, you know what, just shut up and appreciate what I've done. Like,
And do you reckon they will? Do you reckon they're front runners for the title?
Oh, I don't know about front runners. I think it's going to be really interesting in the West. Houston have got that 1-2 punch with Westbrook and Harden. You're going to get 48 minutes of A-plus point guard play every time, and they can score whenever they want. Then the Clippers have probably got the deepest roster in the whole comp. But then you look at the Lakers, and every time that LeBron and AD are on the floor, in my opinion, they're going to have two of the best three players on the floor every time they're out there. So I think the key to them, as much as I love LeBron, is Davis. The Clippers especially they've literally been built to stop LeBron. You've got Leonard and Kawhi in there, but they don't really have anyone that, if Davis goes off, they can't stop him. But then that's obviously to get through the West. And then I think you're going to have Giannis coming out of the East. And then, that'd be pretty crazy to watch. And I think if it gets to that and Giannis beats the Lakers, it'll almost be sort of that handing of the torch where it's sort of like, okay, it's not LeBron's league anymore. Steph flirted with it, but he never really got there. But this is Giannis's competition now. But we'll see what happens. I've
done some deep sea diving on your Instagram, and I've seen you've had the Kobe Crazy Eights. On the somber note, I just wanted to see how that tragic death had affected you.
Oh, I was dumbfounded. I was day shift the day it happened, so I was up about 10 to 6, and then come out and put the news on and saw what's this? Like, it said, tragic something or other. And I saw Kobe's name. I was like, nah, surely not. But then to see that he was gone, it was like still doesn't really seem real. Like, I didn't get to see his memorial until I came out of the house. I missed all of that, and to see the great Michael Jordan in tears talking about him, you hardly ever see Jordan do anything public, really. And to have him front and center and bawling his eyes out, I think speaks to what Kobe meant to the world, not just to the basketball fraternity. So just shocked that he's gone, I think, but probably was a bit silly at the time because, as you said before, I'm a big LeBron fan, and played into that whole who's better, Kobe, LeBron, blah blah blah. But now when he's gone, and same as this LeBron Michael debate, it's just so important to appreciate what we've got, I think, and what we
100%.
Had in Kobe, because now it's gone. So
And to bring the mood back up, I was just wondering when's Friday Legends coming back?
Oh it's going to have to, I think. We've got a few Warning Wednesday. Mate, I'm just, to be honest, I was doing the Warning Wednesdays to try and get a shout out or something from him. I love the man. So we'll have to bring it back. But the Friday Legends, we've got a few good ones in the clinks. Might wait a little while, and they'll definitely be back.
Anticipation.
Good. You have done a deep dive.
Oh dear.
Yeah, no, like so yeah, we know you're a huge sports fan across all sports there, Matty. NBA at the minute's up there for you. What else is tickling your fancy? Big AFL as well.
Yeah, love me AFL. It probably hasn't grabbed me that much, if I'm honest, in the way it's played in that, or the way that it's the format that it's in at the moment. Yeah. So probably enjoying from a viewership point the NBA more. I think part of that the AFL problem as well is I'm a North Melbourne fan, so we're going rubbish, and I'm also a member of the Crows because I'm great mates with Texie. So the Crows are going even worse, and Texas struggling as well. So I'm a member of 2 AFL clubs, and they're last and second last. So that's probably why I'm not enjoying the AFL.
Well, Matt, I'll give you a red hot tip then. I'm a Blues man. Jump on board, I reckon, after last night's performance.
Oh, mate, I had bloody 40 days of listening to Daniel speak that to me in the house. So, but nah, geez, that was insane. I did watch last night, and that was crazy. Yeah, I still don't know what happened.
I know that. Still haven't wrapped the head around it yet. But is there any, like you said, the US sports? Have you what have you made of the MLB so far? Like they've it's been a bit of a disjointed start. We had like the coronavirus outbreak for the Marlins there, and it's kind of like it really speaks volumes to how good a job the NBA's done that they've kind of gone off without a hitch so far. Like they're kind of
I can't believe really that the NBA hasn't had a hitch. I mean, apart from Lou Williams going to get his chicken wings, but yeah, the MLB. I don't know. It's so strange having no crowd at the baseball. Like it's that's probably, if I'm honest, probably number 3 or 4 as far as my favourite US sports. Probably more into my football, but I do catch a bit of it, especially when I get home from night shift, and it's a strange vibe. And like you say, it speaks volumes to what the NBA and Adam Silver have actually pulled off down there in Orlando. So well done to them.
It feels like the games feel like they're just, how they were 6 months ago, don't they? It doesn't feel, from like a viewer perspective, that much different, which is quality. It's the virtual fans. I'd love to get my mug on one of them.
Oh, I love how like some people are there with their dogs. And, the other day, how all the kids from LeBron's school were on there. Like it's pretty cool. But yeah, geez, it'd be good to get the lid on there, wouldn't it?
Mate, I reckon you look into it. Mate, you're the TV star now. You'll be all over it.
I'll speak to my people. I'll get my people to speak to their people. I don't have people.
Join the club.
You might soon, Matt. You might soon. Do you rate yourself as a bit of a bowler, Matt?
Oh, God, no. Absolutely hopeless. I used to play when I was young, and probably one of, if not the worst basketballer to come out of Broken Hill. I was a passer-inner. When I passed the ball in and rebounded, that was me. I was hopeless. But just love watching it, and just would dream to have half the athleticism that these guys have got, to be honest.
Well, I guess my follow-up question's a bit null and void based on that answer. I was about to say, which NBA player would you base your own game off? But at this rate, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is going to be.
Who's hopeless? No, I don't want to call anyone hopeless. In an Aussie sense, I don't know. Maybe Aaron Baines, just big and clumsy. I'm not even that big. What am I talking about? Dellavedova.
There we go.
That's the one. Just an absolute.
We love Delhi, though. We love Delhi. He's everything Australia's about, and that's probably why we love him.
That's one of my favourite basketball moments. Was, even though they lost, was when him and LeBron took 2 games off that Golden State team. That was, to this day, is crazy that they did it. Like,
no one gave them that, did they?
No, like, and the fact that again speaks volumes to how good LeBron is, and that he took 2 games off one of the best teams of all time, with Matthew Dellavedova as his second best player. So it's nuts.
Well, I know, like, especially this year, what you just, like, we just touched on the Cavs and Warriors, and it was just those teams so dominant for a few years there. And I think what's been so good this year is how many teams are open to win it. Like we spoke about then, the East and the West. It's I think this is the best product we've had in quite a few years. Like, I'm absolutely raving about it at the minute, and I know so many people who weren't NBA fans have jumped on board now.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I mean, we've gone from. I mean, it was well documented at the start of the year where we've gone from the super team sort of era to the dynamic duos. You know, with like you've still got Steph and Clay going to be in Golden State, KD and Kyrie, LeBron and AD, Kawhi and Paul George, Middleton and Giannis. Like, it's brilliant because there's literally, you know, probably 4 or 5 teams that have got a legitimate chance to win it all. So, and that's something we haven't had in years gone by. I mean, the Rockets really pushed the Warriors for a couple of years there, but you sort of, I mean, I personally had that sense that the Warriors were always going to win out. And I mean, KD nearly bloody beat them and then went and joined them. But in the East, you sort of had that feeling that even when the Hawks won those 60 games or whatever those few years back, it's like, well, you know, LeBron's coming out of the East, like it's going to happen, like, which it always did. So I think the fact that he went to the West really opened up the East, and then you see more people going over there. So it's the competition side of it is brilliant at the moment.
Over your years of watching the NBA, have you had an all-time favourite squad that you've loved watching?
Oh, all-time favourite.
I mean, there's been a lot over the years, let's be honest, but you know, I feel like sometimes there's just that one specific team who your mind always goes back to and goes, geez, that was an amazing
I loved Shaq. I'm a huge Shaq fan. So the Shaq Kobe Lakers, I mean, there's so many iconic clips from them, but I really love, and this is not a shot at Michael Jordan, but I really love the bad boy Pistons as well. I just love that they're probably up there, you know, just the, you know, take no shit. Just and I love that when you guys obviously would have watched the Last Dance and how the Jordan rules were, you know, it's like don't let him in the paint. If he gets in the paint, put him on his ass. But and on the same token, I've been singing LeBron's praises. That just shows how bloody good Jordan was. That the only way they could stop this guy was to literally bash him. So it was, sure. I loved him and loved Dennis Rodman as well.
Yeah.
So anyway, I love him.
That guy's an absolute weapon. He might have been the best part of the whole Last Dance series, watching him just, you know, night before a finals, nicking off to Vegas or, you know, doing his...
Yeah, and he's bloody wrestling with Hulk Hogan mid-finals. I reckon you'd struggle to find someone with a crazier life story than that bloke.
Oh, you would, he tops it. He tops it. Were you in the house when that doco got released?
Would have been too.
No, just not long out. It was spoke about before I went in, and I was like, God, they better not release that one.
I was about to say.
But yeah, not long out. So I was glued to it, same as everybody else in the world, I think.
It's an incredible insight into that time in basketball. I know us three weren't around to watch it in real time, but just watching that documentary gave us such a amazing insight into what basketball was like in the, you know, late 80s, during the 90s. It really was Michael Jordan's league for so long there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And he was an absolute megastar. I think he's probably, at the time, I mean, I was too young to really remember, but probably the most recognisable and most famous person in the world, bar none, not even in a sporting sense. Like, there wouldn't have been many people worldwide who didn't know who Michael Jordan was. But just the footage of it, when you see him after games with cigars and beers, it's like, you would now they're in ice baths and sucking on Gatorade and that. But yeah, he was just seeing the insight into how driven he was is just crazy. You know, he obviously wasn't the greatest of teammates in a friendly sense, but geez, it would have been great to play with him because you knew he was going to put himself and his teammates through whatever they had to do to win. Like, that's all he wanted to do. And yeah, just nuts, absolutely nuts seeing the other side of it. And like when they're pulling up to hotels in opposing cities and there's thousands of people at the front, like just crazy times.
Would you have stood up to him, Matty, or would you have, do you reckon you would have crumbled under that pressure?
No, I would have stood up to him and then probably would have got kicked off the team the next week. probably would have got released.
That's funny, isn't it? Like, I feel like the way we're brought up in Australia, I feel like, who was it? Luke Longley, who stood up to him. in that
Concur.
documentary. I feel like a lot of Australians probably are the same mindset. We don't like to take that kind of shit, do we? And then we had all these other guys just backing down. Like, yeah, it's Michael Jordan. We know this, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be spoken down to like, you're a piece of trash essentially.
You're an NBA player, aren't you?
Yeah. That's it. You'd think like, I just think that I'd be like, mate, I'm trying my best here. You know I'm not as good as you, and I'm never going to be. But I'm giving everything I've got, so just leave me alone, mate. Like, I'm trying my best.
yeah, for sure. You can only do what you can do, but
that's right. But yeah, like I said, the fact that he was that driven and just, it was like, it's my way or the highway, guys, and there was no two ways about it.
No, for sure.
So, Matty, just quickly, want to get again looking back at this year's finals, get a couple of hot tips from you for any of the punters out there.
For the finals.
Yeah, for the finals, mate. I want you to give us your prediction, finals MVP. Oh no, sorry. We'll start with who's gonna win the finals. Who's your pick?
I'll go with my heart, not my head. Lakers will win it.
There we go. I like it.
The Lakers will win it, and AD will be MVP.
Yeah,
Good one.
No, we like that. We're any of the punters out there, guys, get onto that. Matty's. It's been endorsed by Matty, so I don't see how it could be wrong at this point.
It's been endorsed by the worst basketball player in Broken history.
mate, we aren't much chop ourselves, so
we're looking at putting in a social daily dribble team, and we're god awful, aren't we? So
we know our
fellas.
basketball, but bloody oath, we can't play it to save our lives.
It's more fun watching it. It's easier.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matty, again, we can't thank you enough for coming on, and we are sincerely appreciative of you. Like, we know how busy you are, so we're honoured to have you on. For all the viewers out there, you're pretty active on social media, aren't you, Matty?
I am, yeah. Try to be.
Where can people best find you?
So on Instagram is the best port of call. I'm on Twitter as well, but they're both at Matt Garrick 4 with one T. No, I didn't pick it, so don't ever got me. I didn't pick my name, but Matt Garrick 4. So find me on there. And
you've seen good quality content. I was having to scroll through my feed yesterday, and I saw a pic of you and your budgie smugglers. That was a nice thing to come across.
Love them, boys. Love them. Get the thighs out. The warm weather's on the way. Free the quads. Get the quads out this summer and get some tan on them.
Yeah, might need another fake tan.
Oh, definitely.
No. Thanks, Matt. And once again, from all of us, hugely appreciative for you coming on to our podcast. We're just a small up and coming podcast, but we love talking ball, and we know that you love ball as well, and it was amazing to have this chat with you. So, once again, thank you very much.
Nah, thanks for having me. I never honestly thought I'd be on a bloody basketball podcast, but it's been my pleasure. So thank you, and get me back on next year after KD and Kyrie take us to a championship.
Lock that in.
We're going to hold that. We're going to hold you to that, Matt.
Oh, I hope so.
Perfect. Well, we'll let you go, and you take care.
Nah, thank you. Go Nets.
Cheers, buddy.
Thanks,
mate.
Cheers, boys. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.